Alright, so I was able to get this in with the heat shield on. I know some people had some questions about that, including myself, because a lot of people asked if it was possible, but nobody ever answered, so I know I got the old one out, so I'm assuming I get the new one in, but keep in mind it was a little bit taller, so I don't know if it's going to be an issue. I don't remember exactly how I took it out, but it was something like this. You go along the power steering line here, and I know I got it out sideways, so I'll try to put it back in. Such. It is a tight fit. Maybe not as tight as some, but definitely is. Let's see, get in there. Clear that stupid plastic lip. There she goes. Alright. That didn't hurt none. Alright, so what I did is I fished it down the side here. Like so. Try and not hit the camera. It's very hard to get your left hand in here. Everything's in the way. Ugh. So you kind of lay it down in there. And what I did is I got the angled piece. You turn it all the way to the bottom, and it could fit right underneath the exhaust. Kind of like the L will go under. Just enough clearance to slide it through. So you'll turn this 90 degrees, get that on the bottom, slide it through. And then once you get it in that hole, there's lots of space to spin it around to get it back in the right orientation. But it's tricky to get it past the heat shield. Now you might be able to get it through the lines over there, but that's just the way I found, so I don't know if I can fit. There she is. Alright, so I don't know if I blocked it, but that's how you can slide it through, just at that angle, and kind of tilt it a little bit this way so I don't hit the brake lines with the back or the bottom plate. We got up the bottom. Getting there. It's looking like how it was. Alright. There she is. So yeah, that definitely ain't fitting. So I can get it up a little bit more. So, I don't know. Maybe get a pry bar, but I don't want to shift the engine, so I'm gonna go ahead and lift the engine just a little bit more and see if I get it under there. Just make sure you don't take it off the other mounts, or else it might be free floating. Alright, so yeah, I just kept lifting it, and eventually, so the side of my engine mount was about there, way high. Front engine mount, definitely up a little bit. Yeah, we got it in. I would slide it from the side, it was easier. That's about it. Alright, I'm back with some more tips. So these are the Torx I got for this will be the rear. The bottom I couldn't find, so I didn't saw anything from 33, 36, or 40. I went with 36. 40 on the bolts that go through the sides. And then the top rear said 51 in the manual. And the top of the front was 58 and 40 for both the through bolts. And then side mount was 47. So this one, 47. So what I ended up doing was tightening all these by hand. I even did the upper piece. So I put all the bolts in loose, and then I went ahead, started the car, shifted between drive and reverse about 3 times, let the engine shift and kind of center itself because it was off quite a bit. I had to pull on the engine to get the bolts lined up, so make sure you don't strip them, make sure they're going in straight. The rear was definitely a pain to get lined up. Let's see if I can get in there. So one trick I did with the rear, if you keep raising it up, you could eventually slide it under and get the holes lined up. So I did this side first. So I did the front bottom corner. That's the one I got lined up. So what I did is, well, first I guess I did the through bolt. So actually there's some play in the mount because the engine bracket was higher than it. So what I had to do is I lifted it up by hand, just like 1/8 of an inch, and that lined up the hole. And it was slightly to the left because the engine was kind of getting crooked. But I got it started and it was going in smooth. So I put it in snug by hand, and then I was able to pull on the sides. The studs kind of give you some leverage to move around to line up the bottom holes, and that's the one I started with. So once I got that one in, it kind of like holds it down a little bit, and then I was able to do this one, and then all I had to do is the back two, and then from there I got this one, and then the back corner, which is probably the hardest, was already lined up. So once you get those 3 in, the last one should be centered. And then I went ahead and lined up the side one, and then I did the front one last, but it doesn't really matter. And you can get on it without taking the coolant line off. It is a tight fit. So I used a whole bunch of extensions, mostly 1/2 inch. So I would say what worked the best is probably, that's the torque wrench I use. I use a 3/8. This from Harbor Freight. It's got the flex head. It's the 5 to 75 foot-pounds, and it worked. Not sure how accurate it was because I had to use a whole bunch of extensions to get the torque, but that's pretty much what I used right here. It's so I had a 3/8 swivel, and then this is a 1/2 inch extension, so it doesn't flex as much. So it's a 1/2 inch with a 3/8 tip. You could get that from Harbor Freight as well. And then I did a straight 1/2 inch, and then this is a 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapter to go into my torque wrench. So if you do this with a 17mm, you can snake it right down in here with the swivel, and you kind of get it on right about here. And then just be careful because it kind of rubs right here, so just don't crack it when you're putting pressure on it. And then also right here, make sure you don't push too hard on the plastic. But I ended up taking it out with the impact and then tightening it. I was able to use the torque wrench and got it to click. I mean, like I said, with all this flex, it's probably not accurate, but I feel like nobody torques these anyway. And then this one you can also get on right about here. So, and the same thing with the back. Kind of just fish it in through here, and then that one's pretty self-explanatory. So yeah, I ended up using the swivel to torque the bottom nuts too. So what I did is I torqued the bottom ones, and then I let the engine down once I had them all started and saw where it ended. Well, actually I let the engine down to be able to line up the front and the side because it was way too far off. So let the engine down, and you kind of shake it to get those lined up. And then once you get everything snug by hand, go ahead, start it up, shift it into gear, make sure the engine settles in the correct position, and then you could go ahead and torque everything down. took some time, but it wasn't too bad as long as you have the right tools. Alright, thanks for watching.